Hey guys, Eric Carter here for The Fire Rises, and just wanted to give you guys some quick thoughts, some spoiler-free thoughts on the Batman. I saw the Batman last night in the IMAX Fan First premieres here at the Carefree Cinemark IMAX in Colorado Springs, and I love this movie. Just to be frank, it is a gritty and detective noir film. You've heard the comparisons of Zodiac and Seven. I would say there's much more influence from Seven here, but there are definitely those hints of Zodiac in the movie. So I get that. I think there is so much Batman lore in this film. Matt Reeves really did his homework when it comes to the comics, and he just sprinkled in little details about Batman's world all over this movie, and that's something I really enjoy. I think there's more nods to Batman's actual world in this film than any other Batman I've ever seen. Honestly, this movie is not as hyper realistic as we've been led to believe, in my opinion. We heard a lot of comparisons of the Nolan films, and I just don't think it's there. Honestly, there's things in the Nolan films you can see and say, okay, I can honestly believe that this could exist in the real world. And there's just things in this movie, in Matt Reeves' version of the Batman, that just when you see them, at least for me personally, I say, yeah, there's no way that exists in the real world. That's just comic book goodness right there. So far as the cast, I mean, look, Kravitz and Wright as Catwoman and Lieutenant Gordon, respectively, wonderful. From top to bottom, this whole cast is amazing. But Paul Dano as the Riddler is suitably creepy and haunting. I still don't like the suit. I don't like the costume design for this Riddler, but that's okay. There's a scene near the end of the film that, for me, explains and gives a purpose to the suit, which I really like. So I see where it fits in this world. It's just not the aesthetic that I would go for. But then again, the top hat, the bowler, and the cane, I just don't think it would work in this version of the Batman. So I'm willing to go with what they gave us here. So far as the rest of the cast, I mean, Colin Farrell steals this movie, in my opinion. He is having a blast. You can tell it in his performance, and he is utterly unrecognizable. You all know that from his physical appearance, but I don't mean just physically. I mean in his voice, in the way that he moves. You just can't see Colin Farrell. He disappears into the role of Penguin, and Penguin is fantastic in this movie. So far as the big guy himself, Robert Pattinson is a wonderful Batman. If you have any doubts about Robert Pattinson, if you're still hung up on that whole Twilight thing, well, forget that, because Robert Pattinson is 100% dedicated to the role of Batman, and you can tell he's wonderful in the movie. You can really get a sense of this tortured Bruce Wayne who would just rather be Batman than he would Bruce Wayne, and I loved Pattinson in the role in this movie. The movie does feel long, but not in a bad way. To me, it's like the Lord of the Rings extended editions. Like when I finish one of those movies, and I'm not comparing the two, but only in length. When I finish one of those films, I can tell I've watched a long movie, but I enjoy living in that world so much that the runtime really doesn't bother me. I do think there's some tightening here and there they could have done. You could have shaved some time off of this movie, but it's nothing so egregious that I think, oh God, they should have cut 30, 45 minutes out of the movie. No, not at all. The score is amazing. I've been listening to the score since Michael Giacchino dropped it last week. It's fantastic. And the time that it really resonates with me, because you guys all know that I love the Batmobile. This movie elevated that even more. The score for the Batmobile in its first appearance is, oh God, chef's kiss. It's wonderful. At the end of the day, if I had any nitpicks of the film, it's that there's not near enough Alfred in this movie. I really, really enjoyed the take of Andy Serkis as Alfred in the film, and I just didn't get to see enough of him. So I'm hoping in future films we see more of that. But so far as spoiler-free thoughts, that's about all I can give you until myself and Joe really dive into it in the proper episode, and that'll be coming soon. I already know Joe's thoughts. Can't wait to get it to you. So you guys keep your eye out in the next several days on the podcast feed. and we'll get you our full review there. It will be spoiler filled, so just be warned. But until we get to the episode, make sure you go out and see the Batman on the big screen. And until we meet again, make sure you keep that bat signal lit and pointed skyward.